What if the moment you dreamed about your entire life suddenly came with twice the uncertainty, twice the fear, and twice the responsibility? Twin pregnancy is often romanticized as a beautiful miracle, but behind the glowing smiles and adorable matching outfits lies a journey filled with complex decisions, emotional highs, and moments that test your strength in ways you never imagined. One of the biggest questions that quickly becomes unavoidable is this: when the time comes, should you choose a cesarean section or attempt a vaginal delivery with twins? This is not just a medical choice, it's a deeply personal experience shaped by fear, hope, trust, and instinct. Today, we are sharing a real-life journey that goes beyond theory, revealing what truly happens when expectation meets reality. Twin pregnancy is a path that very few truly understand unless they have walked it themselves, and even fewer talk openly about the decisions that define its most critical moments. In this video, we are diving deep into the real-life experience of carrying twins and facing one of the most important choices: cesarean section or vaginal delivery. This is not just about medical facts, but about emotions, unexpected turns, and the reality behind the scenes that many don't prepare you for. If you are expecting twins, planning a pregnancy, or simply curious about what this journey really looks like, this story will open your eyes. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, and stay until the end, because what you'll hear might completely change how you see childbirth. Twin pregnancy begins with a moment that feels almost unreal, as if life suddenly accelerates and doubles its intensity in a single heartbeat. The first ultrasound becomes unforgettable, not because of a single flicker of life on the screen, but because there are two, moving independently, growing side by side, yet already forming a bond that cannot be explained. Excitement quickly blends with a quiet sense of fear, because with twins, every joy seems to carry an extra layer of responsibility. The body begins to change faster, symptoms feel stronger, and the mind starts racing ahead, trying to prepare for a reality that feels both magical and overwhelming. From the very beginning, there is an awareness that this journey will not follow the same path as a singleton pregnancy. Every appointment feels more significant, every detail matters more, and every decision seems heavier, as if the margin for uncertainty has shrunk. It is in these early weeks that the question of delivery quietly enters the background, not urgent yet, but present, waiting patiently for the moment when it can no longer be ignored or postponed. As the weeks pass, the physical experience of carrying twins becomes more pronounced, and the body begins to communicate its limits in ways that cannot be overlooked. Fatigue becomes a constant companion, not the kind that disappears after rest, but a deeper exhaustion that settles into the bones. The growing weight brings discomfort earlier than expected, and simple movements start requiring more effort. Yet, beyond the physical strain, there is an emotional layer that grows just as quickly. There is a heightened sense of protectiveness, an instinct that seems amplified because there are two lives involved instead of one. Medical appointments become more frequent, each one carrying a mixture of reassurance and anticipation. Doctors monitor growth, positioning, and overall health with careful attention, knowing that twin pregnancies carry additional risks. It is during these conversations that the topic of delivery begins to surface more clearly, no longer a distant thought, but a real decision that will eventually need to be made with confidence, even in the presence of uncertainty. The idea of vaginal delivery with twins often brings a mixture of hope and hesitation, because while it represents a natural path, it also comes with conditions that must align perfectly. The position of both babies becomes a central factor, especially the first twin, whose orientation can determine whether a vaginal birth is even possible. There is a sense of wanting the body to follow its natural course, to trust in its ability to bring both babies into the world without surgical intervention. At the same time, there is an awareness that twin deliveries are unpredictable, and what begins as a vaginal birth can sometimes transition into a cesarean section unexpectedly. This duality creates a mental tension, where hope and caution coexist. Conversations with healthcare providers become more detailed, exploring scenarios, risks, and outcomes. Each piece of information adds clarity, but also complexity, making it clear that there is no universal answer, only a decision that must be tailored to the unique circumstances of each pregnancy. On the other hand, The option of a planned cesarean section introduces a different kind of perspective, one that is often associated with control and predictability. Knowing the date of delivery, understanding the procedure, and having a structured plan can bring a sense of calm in an otherwise unpredictable journey. For many, this option feels safer, especially when medical factors suggest potential complications with a vaginal birth. However, the idea of surgery also carries its own emotional weight. There is a sense of surrendering to a more clinical experience, one that may feel less connected to the natural process of childbirth. Recovery becomes another important consideration, as the body will need time to heal from the surgical procedure while also caring for two newborns. This contrast between predictability and physical recovery creates another layer of decision-making where the benefits and challenges must be carefully balanced against personal values and medical advice. As the pregnancy progresses into the later stages, the question of delivery becomes more urgent, no longer something that can remain in the background. The babies grow larger, space becomes limited, and the body begins to signal that the final phase is approaching. Medical recommendations become more specific, often based on the latest observations regarding positioning, growth, and overall health. It is during this time that emotions can intensify, as the reality of the upcoming birth becomes undeniable. There may be moments of doubt, where every option feels uncertain, and moments of clarity, where one choice feels more aligned than the other. Support from partners, family, and healthcare professionals becomes essential, not to make the decision, but to provide reassurance and perspective. Ultimately, the decision begins to take shape, not as a perfect answer, but as the best possible choice given the circumstances, guided by both knowledge and intuition. The final weeks before delivery often feel like a delicate balance between readiness and anticipation, where every day carries a sense of importance. The body feels heavy, movements become slower, and sleep becomes more difficult, yet there is also a growing sense of connection with the babies. Each movement inside the womb feels like a reminder that the journey is nearing its most significant moment. Preparations at home begin to feel more urgent, as if creating a physical space for the babies helps prepare emotionally for their arrival. At the same time, there is an internal preparation taking place, a quiet process of accepting whatever outcome may come. Whether the plan leans toward a cesarean section or a vaginal delivery, there is an understanding that flexibility will be necessary. Twin pregnancies often require adaptability, and even the most carefully made plans can change in an instant. This awareness brings both humility and strength, as the focus shifts from controlling the outcome to embracing the experience. The day of delivery arrives with a mixture of calm and intensity, a feeling that is difficult to describe because it holds both excitement and vulnerability at the same time. If the decision is a planned cesarean section, the experience begins in a structured environment, where each step is guided by medical professionals who move with precision and confidence. There is a sense of entering a moment that has been anticipated for months, yet still feels surreal. If the path is vaginal delivery, the experience unfolds more gradually, often beginning with contractions that build in intensity and rhythm. In either scenario, there is a deep awareness that this moment marks a transition from pregnancy to parenthood in its most tangible form. Time seems to move differently, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, as each stage brings the reality closer. The presence of two babies adds a unique dynamic, where attention is divided, yet equally focused on bringing both safely into the world. In the end, the question of cesarean section or vaginal delivery with twins is not about choosing the perfect path, but about embracing the journey that unfolds with courage and trust. Every twin pregnancy carries its own story, shaped by unique circumstances, emotions, and decisions that cannot be compared or judged from the outside. What truly matters is the love that guides each choice and the strength that emerges in the process. Whether through surgery or natural birth, the moment those two lives enter the world becomes a powerful reminder that the path taken does not define the outcome, but the care, resilience, and presence brought into it do. And sometimes, the most beautiful part of the journey is not how it begins or ends, but how it transforms you along the way.